Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to Allah, the Lord, creator and sustainer of all things. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil anbiya'illahi wa sayyidil mursaleen. And may Allah raise the rank and grand peace in the most noble of all prophets, Nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. As to what follows. We continue inshallah ta'ala with the chapter of Hajj, the pilgrimage, with our readings from Umdatul Ahkam by the great scholar Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi rahimahullahu rahmatan wasi'a, who passed away when the year was in the 600 after Hijrah, after the migration of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, yesterday we started the introduction lesson, which was just the meaning of Hajj and the meaning of it, which is in the linguistic, the lexical meaning in language, the meaning of it in the language of the Arabs, and the meaning of it within the Sharia. And also we went through the meaning, as we said, that Hajj and Umrah are combined together. So we also took the meaning of Umrah, which is the language, the meaning of Umrah in the language, and the meaning of Umrah within the Sharia. And we said the meaning of Hajj is intent. That's the linguistic meaning of it. And then we said the meaning of it in Islam is that a person, he takes the intention to visit the great place, the sacred lands, the sanctuary, meaning the Mecca, the Ka'batul Musharrafa, with the intention, with the talbiyah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for a certain purpose, and the purpose is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mentioned brief explanations regarding that affair. And also we said, we also talked of the definition of Umrah, which we said the language meaning of it is ziyarah, is to visit. And we said that it means that a visit that is taking place also at any time, but also for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the sacred land, which is the Mecca, Mecca, the sacred land, which is Mecca. Now, and then we went into the issue of, we spoke of the ruling of Hajj. What is it? Is it haram? Is it sunnah? It is required? What is it? And we mentioned that it is wajib. It's an obligation to do the Hajj. And we mentioned when was Hajj also made an obligation within the seerah and the history of Al-Islam. And we came to the conclusion with that which has reached us by the scholars, that it's the 9th year after Hijrah, the 9th year after Hijrah. And we also said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam did it once. And from the rulings also we took yesterday, the benefits we took, we said Hajj is a worship that if a person does it, or a person sets a journey on it, it has to be completed. It has to be completed. It is the only worship that if a person starts it, they have to complete it. The only thing that can prevent them from completing that is probably their death. But they have to complete it. And also we spoke about certain rulings. We spoke of from the Sunnah, we said it is established that Hadith Umar bin Khattab, where he said, there's Abdullah bin Umar, the son of Umar, where he said that Hajj is from the pillars of Islam. Meaning that it's from our belief that we believe that we have to come with it, and we believe that it is something that's legislated within Islam, like the Salah, like the Siyam, the fasting, like that. We mentioned all of these things now. So we said anyone who disbelieves in that, indeed, as we said, the scholars have mentioned, وَمَنْ كَفَرَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ, they took the verse from the Quran where Allah said the person who does not believe in that, or the person who does not feel the need of doing that, that person is doing a bit of disbelief. The person is coming into disbelief now. Ala kulli hal, today inshaAllah ta'ala, we'll go into, I think, 3 points. Number 1 is the virtues of Hajj, the fadail of Hajj. We trying to summarize what we can to the best of our ability. And then we're going to go into the checkpoints of Hajj, the mawaqit al-Hajj, the checkpoints of Hajj. As we know that Hajj, the sacred land, which is Mecca, has places where checkpoints before a person takes on the intention of Hajj and Hakka, these type of things. And then from the things also will be taken is the ruling of what is to be worn, the clothing of Hajj, the ihram. Clothing of Hajj, which is the ihram. طيب, inshallah. So we go into the issue of of the virtues of Hajj. Now when it comes to the virtues of Hajj, it is from the statements of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam that comes of Abi Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, where he said, وأنه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الأمرة إلى الأمرة كفارة بينهما والحج المبرور ليس له جزاء إلا الجنة متفق عليه. Abi Hurairah, he mentions the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, may Allah raise his rank, he said, the performance of Umrah is an expiation for the sins committed between the two Umrahs, between it and the previous Umrah. And the reward of Hajj, means the person who does the Hajj, i.e. accepted Hajj, Mabrur, لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاءٌ إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. There is nothing but Jannah. The reward is Jannah for that person. This hadith that comes in Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari and also comes Sahih of Imam Muslim. He says that this hadith, it indicates a great virtue, the great fada'il, a great virtue of the people who come with the Hajj and the Umrah. This hadith indicates the importance of increasing in Umrah, number one. It indicates the importance of increasing Umrah. Because a person who comes with the Umrah, it falls as an expiation for his sins. It wipes away one's sins. And we are people who sin. So everyone who like these sins to be wiped out. So meaning that it encourages repetition of Umrah. This hadith, it encourages repetition of Umrah. And then from there also since Umrah is not really much of a discussion, we're going to the issue of Hajj here. He says, وَالْحَجُّ الْمَبْرُورُ لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاءٌ إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. He says the accepted Hajj, the person who performs the Hajj, there is no reward but the Jannah. Jannah is the reward for the person who comes with the accepted Hajj. We ask Allah to accept the Hajj of the people. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those who perform the Hajj that He accepts, and for those who are intended to perform the Hajj, Allah accepts from them. Ameen. He says, so here he says, wal hajjul mabrur. And this also hadith indicates that Umrah carries a different weight than the Hajj. Meaning Umrah, sins have been eradicated, erased, wiped away. But Hajj, it's the Jannah. Wow, the wow that comes there, it separates the Hajj and the Umrah. So Hajj is specific, is khas in this narration. So the question, a person who performs a Hajj, or a person who is intending to perform Hajj, or the person who performed Hajj, the question that you ask yourself here is, what is Hajjul Mabrur? How does a person attain or get to the level where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts his Hajj? How do they fall into the category to be Mabrur, the i.e. accepted Hajj? And the scholars have mentioned several things regarding that affair, regarding that issue. How can a person, and what does it mean when the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith of Abi Hurairah, the hadith that comes Sahih Muslim and Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, that what is an accepted Hajj? That's the question, a person who is about to perform the Hajj and the person who intends to perform the Hajj, or the person who has performed the Hajj, or anyone in general. This is the level we want to get to, because we all seek in the Jannah. Now, and there's many statements regarding this affair. From them is Imam al-Nawawi. He said he found this to be the best of that has been said regarding this affair. He said, Al-Hajj alladhi la yukhalitu ithmun. He said a Hajj that comprises of that which has no sin in it. I mean, a person does the Hajj with no sin. A person does the Hajj with no sin. That's what Imam al-Nawawi said. But there's a better definition that was stated by Shaykh Abdullah ibn Salih al-Fawzan in Sharh al-Bulugh al-Maram. He combined the statements of the scholars in the Ahadith regarding the affair of Ibadah and Hajj, and he mentioned that lahu khamsat awsaf. He mentioned there are 5 attributes a person comes, or qualities or elements a person can come with. And if the person comes with these things, that person insha'Allah ta'ala will be in that category of Hajj al-Mabrur, the Hajj that is accepted. Number 1, we're going to the 5. He says, أن يكون خالصا لله. He says the action of Hajj should be done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one else. لا سمعة ولا رياء. Not to be known and not for showing off purposes. That's the first point. له خمسة أوصاف. Sheikh Abdullah ibn Fawzan, he says that let it be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah told us in the Quran, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. Indeed, we are not commanded except to worship Allah sincerely for His sake. أَن يَكُونَ خَالِصًا لِلَّهِ. In that which, it should not be something that is put for showing off and etc. now. For example, you find our times today, you go, I don't know if it's in South Africa or the cultures are different, but I know from the African cultures that we come from, when people perform Hajj, they will call them certain Hajji, this thing, this type of thing. And this is something against ikhlas, it's something against sincerity. You find people sometimes just want to go for Hajj so they can get the title. I don't know if it's common in South Africa, but I know in many African countries it's very common that you find people, they are called, for the women they call them Hajjat, and for the men they call him Haji. So you gain a title when you do the Hajj. So some people want that title. Some people want the title. Especially in the African countries, it's norm. I think it's throughout the world as well. So that is from the things that take away one's sincerity in Hajj. And also from the things also that common thing, which is obviously now that's trending, is when people go on Hajj, they go to Arafah, they take the selfies and you name it. So these are the things that really play around or mess one's acceptance of Hajj. The person goes to the high places and he takes a selfie, he takes etc. Now, sometimes there's a benefit in maybe taking a picture. It could be not of yourself, of maybe the numbers of people to show of da'wah. It could be a benefit. But some people do it for the sake. And it's what the scholars have said and mentioned is that people should free themselves away from this type of acts because it takes away it could take away the point of your Hajj. It could take away points from your Hajj, of you coming with Hajj that is accepted. Now, so people should avoid these type of things and let it be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. As we know, the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the first hadith that we took in the Arba'un al-Nawi, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. Indeed, actions return back to the intention of the person. So let the intention be sincere. Because if your intention is sincere, then bi-idhnillah, by the permission of Allah, you will come with that which pleases Allah when it comes to the action of Hajj. Number 2, from the statement of Shaykh Abu Abdullah ibn Salih al-Fawzan in the Sharh, the explanation of Al-Bulugh al-Maram, is أن الله, the nafaqa. We spoke of this yesterday, but I'll speak about it again, inshallah. He said that the nafaqa, this is his view. He says, the person who takes the wealth and going on Hajj on that journey, let that wealth be clean, let that wealth be good. This also is from the reasons of coming of a person's Hajj to be accepted, to be from Mabrur, to be from the people who attain the Jannah. We ask Allah we are from them. So he says, and also from the remember Allah, the reason why he says the wealth needs to be halal is that Allah, the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which we also took in the Arba'un al-Nawi, where the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ لَا يَقْبَلْ إِلَّا الطَّيِّبٌ. Allah is good and He does not accept that which is, He only accepts that which is good. So we did mention yesterday the issue of some people perhaps maybe stealing money or borrowing money of riba and things like that going for Hajj. We did say the Hajj cannot, we did say the Hajj is sound. No, is sound. We did say that. We're not saying the Hajj is going to be not accepted, but we did say the Hajj is sound. But it's best that people don't do these things now. Because there's a difference between a Hajj not being accepted and a Hajj being sound. If a person comes with the requirements of Hajj, that means he's come with everything. He's come with everything. Other than acceptance, we ask Allah to accept from us now. Yeah. Number 3 is the person, he stays away or she stays away from immoral acts of disobedience towards Allah. A person distances himself from that which is displeasing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from the top of those actions that Shaykh Salih al-Fawzani, he mentions, he says, it is al-bid'ah. A person stays away from innovations when you are doing the ritual of Hajj, the ibadah of Hajj, you stay away from innovation. You stay away from vulgar language. فسوق رفض ولا فسوق ولا جدال الحج أشهر معلومات. Now when they speak of Hajj, they speak of where a person does not engage in vulgar statements. A person does not engage in cheating and lying. A person he only hastens to that which is righteous in action. And from the things he says also here is that a person does not become angry. A person does not become frustrated. The reason why we say that is because a person who's performing Hajj, you are in crowds of people, probably millions of people from different parts of the world. And obviously, we are going to step on one another. We are not going to agree on things. It's going to happen. So a person, he remains composed. He does not become angry. He brings about patience to him. Now, and then we said the top of them is a person staying away from innovation and also the shirk. Because you find people in Hajj, people perform the tawaf around the Kaaba. They are busy with that which is shirk and that which is innovation. You find a person, he is there to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he's seeking other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe the righteous wali, the righteous people. And this is something that a person who goes to perform Hajj or a person who perform Hajj or perform Umrah, it's something that we've all witnessed to a certain extent. And we ask Allah to guide them and to guide us. Ameen. So this are from the things that cut away the mabrur. They cut away from the more. As we said, no vulgar statements, no cheating, no lying, not becoming angry. All of these things. Not sinning. Not going there for the intention of sinning. No. And number 4, as they mentioned here, from the things is a person in Hajj, from the Hajj being accepted, is a person having husnul khulq. A person having good mannerisms and good etiquettes. It falls under the issue of no vulgar. The statements, this point we took before this one. No vulgar statements, no cheating, no not becoming angry, being patient. Hajj is from the times or the rituals of Al-Islam that also a person learns the patience. Just like Ramadan, a person who is fasting the month of Ramadan, stays away from food and drink. That person also is striving in patience. Similarly, also in Hajj, a person builds good character. And from these things are from the few things that, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that will level a person into, placing them into the category of husnul, of Hajj al-Mabrur, the accepted Hajj. So good character is something that a person should make dua for. A person should make dua for in Hajj. A person should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to adorn them by beautiful character. Because some of the scholars, they say, if you do not learn the beautiful character in the ritual of Hajj, it's not going to be easy for you to learn anywhere else. To learn patience, because you are, again, with different people. So a person, and also he says, under the thing here he says, وَاللِّينُ الْجَانِبِ. A person, he learns softness, or she learns softness as well in Hajj. They become soft. And there's many examples from the scholars on the Salaf al-Ummah where they speak about how Hajj aided them, or Hajj aids a person when it comes to being soft and being gentle and having good mannerisms. From them is Shaykh Muhammad Mukhtar al-Shinkiti, who is a teacher in the Haram of Al-Madinah. He is a teacher of Quran and Tafsir. What is known that he, in this time of Hajj, he would cover his face. He would cover his face and he would go out helping people in his ihram. Because why? He knew that this is the time where a person is rewarded high. Even if people perform Hajj, they will see it's a time that's very hot. It's time people need help, people need assistance, being patient. And this is the time people assist one another. You become patient with one another. Now, you'll find people charging, for example, to touch the black stone. People pushing one another, becoming very, what can I say? People are using energy in these type of things, hurting one another. Be from the people who don't do that. Be from the people who do let your brother go, let your sister go ahead of you. And that's how it is. Because Hajj is a time of patience. So we said that you find scholars like Sheikh Muhammad Mukhtar al-Shinkiti, you'd see him helping around. Until it was said that his students found him. And they pointed him out and they said, look, because he used to hide his face on doing that because he knew the importance of aiding a person, especially when it comes to Hajj. Because this is a time of reflection, a time a person changes. Now, it's a time to exercise good manners. For example, you stay in a tent. People are going to be cruel to you. It's hot. It requires a person to come back, to smile, to be with good manners in this time. It's just a couple of days. That is what is mentioned under this point. Lean, softness, and good mannerisms now. And also we've seen wealthy people, the likes of Sheikh Abdulaziz Raji. Now we've seen him in Hajj helping people, aiding people, because this is a time where everyone is the same. No one is different to the other. Everyone wants the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last point, which is the fifth one, which is a person makes ta'zeem of sha'air Allah. A person honors the sacred place of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How does a person honor? Shaykh Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, he says, honoring the sacred place of Allah is a person comes with the takbir, the talbiyah, a remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He increases in remembrance of Allah. Ashaddu dhikra. They say when a person reaches these places of Hajj and Arafah, a person remembers Allah the most. Ashaddu dhikra. They go into immense remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah told us in Surah Al-Hajj, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُؤَذِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. That is so, and whoever honors the symbols of Allah, indeed this is from piety of one's hearts. Now, so think about it. Think about the symbols of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think about those people who walked on the place. For example, you're doing the sa'i. From sa'i al-mar'a to safa wal-mar'a. You think of Hajira. You think of the people who stepped on. You think of the companions. Now, it is said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would remember Allah at most in these times. In these times, he would remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So coming with all of this is coming with al-mabrur. Is coming with a Hajj that is accepted. If a person comes with all of these 5 aspects that the Shaykh has mentioned, it's you coming with the acceptance and you, inshallah, attain the Jannah. Now, so we stay away from that which is innovation. We become, first we have sincerity in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We only do it for the sake of Allah. We only do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We stay away from the sins, and from the top of them we say, we stick into, that is the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As we know the hadith of Aisha, she told us, Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa raddun. Whoever does an action that which is not in our affair of us, it is to be rejected, which is the innovation now. So this is the greatest fadl. When you talk of the virtues of Hajj, this is the virtues of Hajj. That you do it for the sake of Allah. It increases you, it changes you. As we said, we've seen people, they do Hajj every year, but we see no change in them. Allah has favored them to do Hajj every year, but they don't come with this fadl. They don't come with this favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored them now. So the second thing we said we will take today, inshallah wa ta'ala, after the virtues, is the issue of the mawaqit. The issue of the mawaqit, which is the chapter of the checkpoints of Hajj. The mawaqit is obviously from the plural called miqat, which means 2 things. It means 2 things. It means a designated time, and also it means a designated place as well. So it's a time and a place. There are 2 types of Hajj mawaqit. The timing, but we only want to speak on one. We only want to speak of one, which is our concern. Now, but I'll mention the other one just for knowledge base now. So it's one of 2 things, either the designated time or the designated place. So Hajj is restricted to these things. So we know from the times of Hajj, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, Al-Hajju ashhurun ma'lumat. Indeed, the pilgrimage for Hajj are well known. And we know that the months, the sacred months, the talking of the sacred months, which is Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah or Dhul Qi'dah, both ways it's said, and Dhul Hijjah. So that is the time of it. the sacred place. And this is also comes from significance that, remember, back in the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the people who were engaged in fighting and etc. in these times, they had good relationships in this time, the sacred months now. Ala kulli hal. And the second mawqit, the issue of miqat, which is what we're speaking about, is the issue of place, mean the checkpoints of Hajj. Now this is important, obviously, for the one who is performing Hajj and the one who has performed Hajj as well. Now, so that does mean that this is from the Hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is the first Hadith in the book, where he says, we recite the Hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as it relates to the specific checkpoints of when a person has to have the intention, or the person has to be in state of al-ihram, the clothing of Hajj. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in Hadith of Abdullah bin Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, he said, وقت هكت لأهل المدينة ذو الحليفة. هكت لأهل المدينة ذو الحليفة. Ibn Abbas, he mentioned the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam specified for the people of Medina Dhul Hulayfa. So there's a place called Dhul Hulayfa. This is the miqat, or the checkpoint for the people who are coming from Medina. That's the first statement that we taken from the Hadith of the Messenger. The Messenger specified that the people who are coming from Medina, their first checkpoint is what? It's called Dhul Hulayfa. Today's time, it is, for example, I would say, there's a masjid called Masjid. SubhanAllah, I forgot the name. If I do remember, I'll mention it. Dhul Hulayfa is for the people of Medina. Wali Ahli Sham. And for the people of Sham. For the people of Sham is called Wali Ahli Sham al-Ju'fa. A place called Ju'fa. Wali Ahli Najd. And the people of Najd, it's called Qarnul Manazil. Qarnul Manazil. Wa ahli al-Yaman, and for the people of Yemen, Yalamlama. It's a place called Yalamlama. So here we find that there are 4 or 5 designated checkpoints that was described by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The one, he said, Dhul Hulayfa for the people of Medina, Wali Ahli Sham for the people of Sham, Ju'fa, Wali Ahli Najd, Qarn al-Manazil, the people of Najd, Qarn al-Manazil, Wali Ahli al-Yaman, Yalamlam, and the people of Yemen, Yalamlam. And then also within the same statement of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says that هن لهن ولمن أطى عليهن من غيرهن ممن أرى الحج أو اعتمرة ومن كان دون ذلك فمن حيث أنشأ حتى أهل المكة من مكة. So the hadith of Ibn Abbas, he speaks about these people, Dhul Hulayfa, people of Medina, the people of Sham, Al-Ju'fa, the people of Najd, Qarn al-Manazil, and now the people of Yemen, Yalamlam. He says, whoever passes on them. Now talking of people who are not from these designated places. We're talking of if a person is not from Medina, but you happen to be in Medina. A person is not from Mecca, you happen to be in Mecca. A person who is not from Yemen happens to be in Yemen at this time before they take the intention of Umrah or Hajj. So he says, those people will live in, he says, who pass them on their way, perform Hajj or Umrah, those people will live in within boundaries also the same. So it means that if you are in Medina, your checkpoint, if you take in the intention from Medina, your checkpoint will be Dhul Hulayfa, which is about 420 kilometers out of Mecca. Dhul Hulayfa is the furthest checkpoint. It's the furthest checkpoint from all the checkpoints. It is between Mecca and Medina, but it is 420 kilometers out of Mecca from Medina. Back in the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Dhul Hulayfa was a place on its own, but right now it has become part of Medina. It is part of Medina because the city has now built space now. So if a person finds himself or makes the intention of Medina, your checkpoint will be from Dhul Hulayfa now. Obviously, there's certain innovation that happens in these places as well. You find a person feels that you have to make 2 rakats when you pass in the checkpoint, and all of this is not from the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is known is a person obviously takes the bath, the ghusl of his ihram before he puts himself the ihram, وهكذا, before these checkpoints. That is what is known. and the person has the intention and they do the talbiyah. But as for a person making sure that they pray the 2 units of prayer in these checkpoints, that is not from the sunnah. You'll find a lot of people indicating to people that you have to do that, and that's not from the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's not from the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these places, and if a person, and then from the last point also we're supposed to say part of the hadith is that if your person finds himself in Mecca, then the person has no checkpoint to be specified, to be specific. The person takes the ihram from the place they are residing at that particular time. Now we're going to the geography of these places, but it's not really important right now. Ala kulli hal, that a person who is in Mecca, they take the intention, they put on the ihram. There is a checkpoint in Mecca that people can go to, and they have the intention there, and they go. It's a place that's next to Masjid Aisha. It is from the checkpoints of Mecca. But if for Hajj, the scholars have said it's best that people do it from the places they're in. Obviously because of zahma meaning because of traffic of many people and things like that. Now, so these are the checkpoints that are known that a person needs to come with when it comes to the Hajj now. And let me go into the last issue of today, which is the issue of ihram. What is to be worn in ihram? If you go to the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, in this chapter where he says what a muhrim is allowed to wear, entering into nusuk, entering into the ritual act of umrah or the Hajj. And from the issues that speak about this issue, is that it's very important because a person needs to know what is accepted to wear and what is not accepted to wear when it comes to the issues or the clothing of Hajj or the ihram of Hajj now. In this hadith here, an Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, may Allah be pleased with his father, he said, Anna rajulan qala. He said, a man said to the messenger, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, ما يلبس المحرم من ثياب فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, this man came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, a man asked, what type of clothing should a man or a muhrim wear? What type of clothing should a muhrim wear? فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يلبس القمص. The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, the first statement he says, the man does not wear al-qumusa. Al-qumusa is, I would say, it's described as a shirt. It goes around a person's body. It's basically a shirt. A shirt, a person does not wear any shirt. Do not wear shirts. Al-qumusa. And from the next statement he says, because now the person asks what should be worn, and the Messenger is telling him what shouldn't be worn. There's a hikmah and wisdom behind this, the response of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. He says from the second thing after qumusa, he says wala al-ama'ima. He says wala al-ama'ima. And from the things a person should not wear is a person should not wear the turbans. A person should not wear turbans. This is for the men. A person should not wear the turbans. Something on their head or their caps or وهكذا amama. Something a person should that is wrapped around the head. A person should not wear this type of things. Do not cover themselves with that. And also wala sarawilat. And then the Messenger then said, a person should not wear sarawil. And sarawil is a Farsi word. It is worn from the waist until it reaches the knees, known as the trouser in our time, I would say. A person should not wear the trousers. So we've established a person cannot wear the shirt, he cannot wear something on his head, amama, when it's a cap, wahakada, or the trousers, sarawilat, walal baranis. Walal baranis. A person should not wear baramis. Baramis is something like a Moroccan wear. It's something that's known with a hoodie. It's like a cloak with a hoodie. That's something a person should not wear. I think for the brothers, it's known, those Moroccan thobes that you see brothers wearing, that are also something they should not wear at this particular time. Moroccan wear. This is something the person should not wear. This is for the brothers now as well. It's hooded cloaks I would say. And then from there he says, baranis also. Then from the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, وَلَا الْخُفَّافِ. He says, وَلَا الْخُفَّافِ إِلَّا أَحَدٌ لَا يَجِدُ النَّعْلَيْنِ فَلْيَلْبِسْ الْخُفَّيْنِ وَلْيَقْتَهُمَّا أَسْفَلَ مِنْ كَعْبَيْنِ. Then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam then goes and he says that a person should not wear baranis. Baranis is, for example, I would say, as we mentioned, the person should not wear sandals, A person should not wear the sandals. Or he should not wear the khuffain. The khuf here means socks. It does not mean restricted to leather socks. It means a person should not wear socks. But if someone cannot get these type of sandals, then he can wear the khufs, but he cuts them off. He cuts them off in a certain way, short below the ankles. They cut them out short below the ankles. So a person wears sandals or he wears flip-flops, as we call it, but the ankles should be shown. This hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then some narration of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said for the man, it is, a person should wear a shoe like a flip-flop or slippers, whatever we may call it, but it's best that the greater part of the foot is shown. That is the best. In the statements of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said the best is that the greater parts of the foot is shown. Shay'an mashu zafran. And the last statement from the statement we say, وَلَا يَلْبِسْ مِنَ الثِّيَابِ شَيْئًا مَسْهُ زَفْرَانْ أَوْ وَرَسْ. He says that a person should not wear saffron. It's translated to saffron. It's something that's yellowish, I would say. And also from the things, the reason why he says al-waras is something, the last part of the messenger, al-waras is something that is yellow, it's of color. Do not wear something of color. So we've taken that in this statement that it's not good to wear something that's going to stand out. And also from al-waras is also a person should not wear perfume, should not adorn himself by perfume. This is also for the men. Now, so the 5 things we are not allowed to wear is al-khamis, we can say shirts, jumpers, hoodies, amama, which is the turban, the hat, the cap, sarawil, the trousers, baramis, which is the Moroccan thobe. These things are not to be worn now. These things are not to be worn now. And also this is taken from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's a wisdom behind these things. Now when it comes to the sisters when it comes to the issue of the sisters, what is to be worn is not, a sister does not wear exactly what a man wears now. In short now, she covers herself to the best of the ability, obviously not wearing clothes that are attracting to the men, and things that scholars have said black is good. And also from the things that a person, obviously they cover their feet. Some of the scholars say it's best they cover their feet. The only thing that is different for women is the issue of the niqab, the issue of covering the face. As we know that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he ordered the women not to cover their faces with niqab, but he ordered them to cover their face maybe with a cloth. For example, with something that's over their faces. As we know the hadith of Aisha, al-Mu'mineen, she said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in places where we are alone, we should uncover. We should keep our face uncovered as much as possible. But when men pass by, we covered. That's what they said. So obviously the dispute came. Some of the scholars took the understanding of saying if a woman wears the niqab and it touches the face, then the Hajj is something. That is not. And as Shaykh Uthaymeen, he said there's no blame on the sister who covers her face and the cloth touches her face. La bas bi dhalik. The Hajj is still valid. Her point is still to continue and to hold that modesty and to cover her face, so the man should not see her and things like that now. So what is known is that a woman can wear the normal jilbab, and when she wears a normal jilbab, she takes maybe a cloth of a different color and she covers her face throughout the rituals of Hajj. And that is what is known to be good. That is what is known to be good. That is what is known to be good now. When it comes to covering, وَهَكَذَا. So also he says women also are not allowed to wear gloves. Some of the scholars hold that of view. They shouldn't wear the gloves. But she is allowed to cover her face. If she uses a normal cloth around her face. And that is khair, and that is best for her to do. Some people shouldn't take advantage and say this is the time for us not to cover. Rather, they should cover. They should hold that modesty, especially in the times of Hajj, in the times where it's important to be pleasing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some people also, you'll find some people cover, as we mentioned now, some people cover with a cap and they put a cloth above the cap because they fear that the cloth will touch their faces. And we said that is you or someone going into extreme. If the cloth touches your faces, la bas bidhalik. There's no issue with that. And the Hajj is still correct if the cloth touches the faces. Now, the Hajj state touches the face. But inshallah ta'ala, with this issue of the woman bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we'll go with it in bullet point tomorrow bi'idhnillahi ta'ala again. We'll stop here this evening. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.